You're listening to Parasearch UK Radio. News, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
It's Monday evening, and you're listening to Jo and Gemma on the Supernaturelle show.
Good evening and welcome to this week's The Supernaturelle show. My name's Gemma and unfortunately Jolene will not be joining us tonight because she is poorly. So get well soon, Jo. Tonight's show is, well, it's all on the very, very in-demand, busy man that is Mr. Paul Stevenson. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening. I would say ladies, but obviously it's just lady tonight, so...
Yeah. Well, I'm not quite all alone because we've got the boss lady in the studio with us. Oh, well, you may as well just pop up chicken, aren't you?
Oh, right, okay. Sorry, I've been mute on.
No,
I was like, what? I'm on the show?
Yeah, you're here now.
Live.
Yeah, so you know, you have got two.
Oh, well, good evening, ladies.
Good evening,
Paul. How are you?
In demand. I don't know about in demand. In demand. I'm not sure about in demand, but...
Well, you're very busy.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's very true.
You are a very busy man, and if you're not busy working, then I dare say the dad jokes are out to play.
I'm getting a reputation now, aren't I, really, for dad jokes?
Do you think?
Yeah. Well, you know, to me, social media is about being sociable, not putting your dinner up, what you have for dinner or breakfast, just having a laugh and engaging with the people who follow you and like you.
Well, I couldn't agree more, and if I'm honest, your dad jokes do make me chuckle. I'm not sure I should be saying that on radio for the public to hear, you know.
Yeah, you
I'm
should
sure
say that. Yeah.
there's going to be loads of people sat with their head in their hands, shaking their heads, going, oh my God, somebody's encouraging him. But it is funny.
Sometimes you look at jokes and you think, I can twist that. You hear a joke and you can twist it to make it more paranormal. And sometimes things just come into your head and you just think, I've got to say that. I've got to say it.
Honestly, they do make me laugh. So, Paul, shall we start with The Haunted Mag?
Yes.
So how long has The Haunted Mag been running?
The first issue was September 2009. So next year, if my maths are correct, it's 10 years of Haunted Magazine.
That is correct.
Yes. Just making sure. Did
you get your fingers out?
So the idea came back in 2006, to be honest. Most Haunted, the show that divides a lot of people, was probably the only paranormal show on TV at the time. Yeah. And I'll be honest, at the start, it was good. It was...
Well, I don't think anybody can deny that. At the very start,
fun.
When it first came out, it got a lot of people.
It was entertaining, and I thought that there was no magazine like that could embrace that funness, that entertainment thing. So the idea started 2006. It took 3 years to get into print.
So how did it get into print? How did you manage to set up the whole thing from beginning to end? How did that actually work?
Well, I was already a freelance writer at the time, so I had a lot of contacts on how to start. Set up a sole trader business with myself, and then just tried during my real job. I always say real job.
Your real job.
Yeah, my proper job to basically get a fun magazine out there. Looked at printing costs, looked at publication costs, that kind of thing. And they say it took 3 years basically to get it out. The first issue was written basically all by myself. And then in time, 2 months later, writers came along and said, "Oh, really like your style, really like what you're trying to do with the magazine, see what you're trying to do. We'd love to write for you." So, and it sort of like grew from there.
Yeah. So it's not just yourself that writes the articles.
Oh, no. Issue 1 was, well, we called the issue 1 issue 0 because to me it was the birth of something. And when you're born, you are 0 years old. So, So we called it issue 0 just to be fun. And then since then, I'm sure you know Andy. Andy Saw, the Haunted Guy. He designs the magazine. We've got a plethora of writers. People who write.
Should we just name drop them, Paul? Should we just give them a little shout out in case they're listening?
Certainly. What, me or you or Mickey York writes for us? People you know, Mike Powell. We've had Jane Harris write. I think Penny, one of your Haunted Histories presenters, she's writing soon for us. Richard Eastep, lots of people in the paranormal world that you probably know and have heard of. Yeah. Vicky Grant, who obviously you had on a few weeks back.
I love little Vicky. Mm-hmm. Vicky's in the chat room, actually. Hi, Vicky.
Hi, Vicky.
Yeah. There is a massive team now, isn't there? Of writers and creative.
You can, without Andy, without writers, without people supporting the magazine, reading the magazine, buying the magazine, downloading it, it'd be nothing. It would just be my warped imagination. But no, it's grown from being an idea to being in print, and then print finished in 2011 because it was just costing far too much. In 2012, went digital, and then, as I said to Andy back in 2016, let's try and see if we can get it back in print again, and we have done. So it's now print and digital. So it's both best of both worlds, really.
So how can people download or buy a copy of the mag?
Well, we're looking for stockists in 2019, so we'll have to announce that, at the start of next year. We've got a few, like in America, Malvern Manor, which is one of the most apparently haunted places in America. They now stock the magazine. But the free download, it's available via Google Play, App Store, our website. But you can buy the print magazine from our website too. Click on the print shop, and all the back issues are there, and any that are available.
I know you quite often do a competition or two as well, don't you?
We like a good competition. We love a competition.
Well, I believe it was our very own haunted. Oh, I can't speak tonight. Somebody call the speaking police. Our Haunted Histories Penny that won recently, didn't she? Was that today?
Yes, that was day one. She won what did she win? The Haunted Life pen and a couple of fridge magnets and a subscription to the magazine for next year. So we believe. Listen, there's not many millionaires in the paranormal world. You and I, we all know that. And it's nice to get some money to sell magazines and to buy magazines, but we like to give things away. We like to spread the paranormal love every now and then.
There's not always an awful lot of paranormal love to be spreaded, though, is there?
No, and there never will be. Hashtag Paraunity. I mean, myself and Kerry have talked about this on other shows.
Well, I nearly said something, but if I had have done, I think I would have been in big trouble by the boss lady. And Paul, who's in the chat room too, I'd have been in trouble with both of them. Hashtag beginning with a B.
We're all entitled to different opinions. The majority of the people in the paranormal world are decent people, but there are some that aren't decent.
How do you personally handle those not so pleasant people? Because being there, done that, Paul, I know exactly what it's like. I used to work with a well-known team, and the bitchiness, the backstabbing, the children playground stuff, he said, she said, rah, 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 the pseudo names on Facebook that pop up on, not just Facebook, other social media platforms are available, but that they pop up and they come along with their comments. And how do you cope with that? Because it's not nice.
It's not nice. I think with trolls, you have to sort of like ignore them because it's part and parcel of life these days. Social media is big. You have to accept the good with the bad. But
do we have to accept the bad?
Well, yes and no, really, because you can block them or you can enter a chat with them. But my ideology is that don't drag yourself down to their level. Because if you start calling them, then to me that's just as bad as them calling you. So you either fight them with words or fight them with nothing at all and just block them. But as regards to, I think I probably changed over the 10 years. I used to be all guns blazing, going like a blind pig, just, firing bullets left, right and centre. It's like, you can't say that, you can't say that. But now, petty squabbles and in-team fighting, I don't get involved in. If they want to fight with their own teams, let them fight with their own teams. If people want to rob the public of money, I'll stand by people who are owed money and I'll try and fight for them. But I won't
quite rightly so.
I won't get involved in petty squabbles. So,
I can't say as I blame you, but it is. It is dog world in the paranormal.
Oh, yeah,
it's horrific. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of he said, she said, rah rah rah, and
there is.
It's something that doesn't particularly get discussed an awful lot. People tend to brush over it unless it's within their own little cliques. Now, I don't particularly have a clique. I'll speak to anybody. That's just the way that I am. You're not always going to like everybody. You're not always going to get on with everybody, and you're definitely not always going to agree with what's being said.
Very true.
But surely, as grown adults, we can all have our opinions and voice them without people getting...
Exactly. Yeah, you'd have thought so. But it is the nasty side of social media. A lot of celebrities get trolled, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I guess the paranormal, because we're in the paranormal daily, we're involved in it. It's our passion, it's our hobby. We love it. We see a lot of it that people don't see. We see the backstabbing and the snide remarks and the comments. And that kind of thing. So you have to ignore it or play, or have a laugh with it, that kind of thing. It's the paranormal over the last 5 years has just gone mad. Teams, events, locations, it's just gone ballistic. It's 10 years ago, it was 4 or 5 companies who ran events. Now there's 4 or 5 a day. Yeah. So.
4 or 5 a day. Yeah, but most of them only last 4 or 5 days, so it's quite short-lived.
Yeah,
it's because
I think that what you have to do is use your discernment and treat people how you would like to be treated. And that's respect. And if you've got a question, feel free to ask and but take the answers. What I mean, that you're given, and there's no need to be personal. And I think the problem is a lot of people get very personal and disrespectful, and it just because you might have a different opinion on something doesn't mean that both, either side is right or wrong. It's about open discussion, respectful discussion, but that's where learning and knowledge comes from. And that is where some of the people out there lack that. They just go straight in for the, well, you're a twat kind of scenario, and you're like, well, yeah, that serves no purpose, does it? Do you know what I mean?
Did the boss lady just drop the T-bomb?
I did just drop the T-bomb. But you are right. There has been a huge explosion in the paranormal. And you're right, they come and go quite quickly because they realise it's not that easy.
See, this is going back to something that you just said, Paul. A lot of people do think that you can come into this paranormal world, you can earn money, you can become famous, you're going to be on TV and be the next Ryland Clark. It's not going to happen.
No, I'm afraid not. It's not going to happen.
There is a lot of people that are still in it for the passion.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason I'm still in it. I absolutely love the paranormal.
Yeah,
I agree. But with Amazon Prime though and Netflix and stuff like that, or Facebook Live, like we do, it has opened up avenues other than TV. TV 10 years ago was, I want to be on TV, but that's not the case anymore. You can share your love for the paranormal with Facebook Lives, with the magazine, with radio shows like they are now. You don't have to just be, I want to be on television. It's not as important as it used to be.
I think a lot of people do come into it for the fame factor, though.
I think you're right. I think they do, and if that's what they want to do, then fine. Good luck to them, but they'll find it very hard. If in my opinion, you have to have a love for the paranormal, a passion for
massively.
The paranormal. I love ghost hunting. I think it's a hobby. Of course it is, but it's a passion. And if you love your hobby and you love your passion, just do what you got to do. It may lead somewhere. Somebody may see that, thinking, this guy's all right. This woman's good. She talks a good game. Let's see if she wants to do something. Like, look at Britain's Scariest Hauntings. You've got Jo on, you've got Barry on, you've got loads of people that we know, like Tom Buckmaster, who have been around for years, and they're now on television talking about the paranormal.
I think you have to remember why you started in this field in the first place. That's, I don't know about you guys, but before it hit the TV screens, I was reading articles in magazines written by people that are still out in the field nowadays, and then those magazines kind of went under, and then your magazine came up, and I was reading books and all sorts of things, like Arthur C. Clarke, and those kind of things, the mystery, the supernatural, the ghost stories. That's where it started. And I think if you start to lose that passion, go back to that, because that's where it started from, before all of this social media and
did
internet.
You guys
and
do
stuff.
The whole telling ghost stories around a fire when you was camping and you was
God,
young?
Yeah, we did all that, telling ghost stories. Yeah, I can remember when I think I was about 9 or 10, the older kids on the street, they were 13, 14, used to tell us ghost stories. And it used to scare us, something silly. But then actually we did that when we were 13, 14. We told the younger kids on the street. So it's just natural. It's something that you do. I got a book on Borley Rectory when I was 10 or 11, and I loved it ever since. I love Harry Price. I just love the passion. I love the place. That sadly Borley's not there no more, but I would have loved to have gone. But yeah, I mean, I've had a passion for it for 30 odd years now.
I think the first story I remember from my childhood was Raynham, the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the picture.
That picture. Yeah. That was one of the first. It was in a Penguin book of ghost stories and all things. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's where it starts.
Penguin book.
I know. I know. I think I've still got it in my library.
It was called the Osborne Guide to the Paranormal, and it was like werewolves and UFOs and demons, and there was this bit about Harry Price. Mm-hmm. And it just I want to be that. I want to be Harry Price, but it's fascinating. As I say, it's nice to know that what I liked as a kid, I'm still doing it now as a bigger kid.
Yeah, it's evolved as well. Your knowledge has evolved. Just the way you do things, you as a person, you've evolved as the years have gone on, but to still have that passion is amazing. I think that's the one thing that we all wish for as a kid growing up. We wish that, we've still got something as we're getting middle-aged, shall we say.
I'm past that,
As we're getting younger. That's where we're going with that. We're getting younger.
Yeah. Well, is that what's happening, is it?
We're going backwards.
I'm definitely not adding any more years on, that is for sure.
Well, it's true, though. You talk about. Obviously, I'm gone past middle age now. I'll let you into a secret. I'm 50 next year, 50.
Paul.
I know I don't look it.
No, yeah, but
about
can I tell you
48.
something?
Yeah.
Right, it's really not a secret now. You've just said it because we're live on radio.
Well, I am. So any presents, any gifts, more than welcome. But what I'm saying now is, there's a new generation. There's 20, 30-year-olds now who are doing exactly what I did 15, 20 years ago. Yeah. So,
Now,
so it's
I'm
great.
slightly older than 30, actually.
When I've gone and departed this earth, there'll be people like yourself and then their generation, and it'll always be going forever and ever and ever.
My son, he's definitely the next generation of paranormal investigator. He knows every bit of kit that is currently on the market. He knows how it works. He knows, well, to be fair, I sometimes think that he knows more than I do. Honestly. So, I get what you're saying. We do need the next generation to come along.
We do.
To keep the paranormal field alive.
Yeah, we do. And that's... I tried yesterday to imagine a world without Facebook, and I can't. I know it's only 10, 11, 12 years old, but I cannot remember much about what we did at night time before social media.
No, I
you know
can
what I mean?
You exactly what we did, right? As children, we went out to play.
We did. Yeah, that's true.
And as adults, we rang, we spoke to people, we invited people round. We
and now you just text them and say, how are you?
Face to face. Yeah, now we just do it through a phone or a laptop.
I know.
But in some ways, that's good because, like, I wouldn't have met some of the people I've met, even though, like, it's through Skype or, you know, like, stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't have met you guys if it wasn't for social media. So my paranormal circle would have been still just reading books or magazines and stuff like that were on the shelf at the newsagents or at the library or the bookshop. Do you know what I mean? That's how I would know what I know, because that's what I was doing before this. So I think it's opened so many doors to people that it's untrue. It's fantastic because I get to talk to so many people from across the country, and some of those people I class as really close friends, and I've not actually met them.
I know, it's weird.
How weird is that?
It's absolutely weird. And then
that's how me and Jo met.
I met somebody at Paracon about a few weeks back. I've been speaking to them for years, but because I've not met them, I still knew them. It was like chatting to a friend because I've been speaking to them for 2 or 3 years. Well, I've been like Penny, really. You know, I chatted to Penny for years, and we chat for hours before a radio show.
That I can believe.
See her, it's like, you know, it's like you're eating a friend. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. But sometimes though the pictures don't quite match the person that's standing in front of you.
Yeah, thanks. Hashtag no filter. That's what you want.
Or I think I actually
look like.
I actually said people should walk around with a badge of their Facebook profile picture, not a name badge, but a Facebook profile picture.
Like a double take. Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, that's you.
Honestly. So back to the mag, Paul.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I do tend to digress slightly. No. I can't help myself. It's because I like to talk. So when it comes to the magazine, how do you decide what articles and interviews you put in there? Because it must be so difficult, because I would want to write about everything all the time, and obviously you can't do that.
You can't do that. You have to look what's if a TV show's coming out, you try and get them in, like Barry, and Help My House is Haunted, those kind of things. But you don't want to have a flat plan that fills the magazine up. You want to leave some space, because the paranormal is, by definition, something can happen just like that. So we tend to have writers who write about really good stuff. And the best thing about it is, because it's paranormal, it's in the past, so it's not going to change. So you can't sort of change, like the history of, I don't know, a house in Hull. You can't change that history. So even if Mike Cavell wants to add something, we know it's going to be fine. But we tend to have. We always said from day one, the magazine cover is page 1 of the magazine. It has to be a cover that people love, people want to look up, pick up.
Yep.
And then that draws the reader in.
Completely agree. If the front cover doesn't interest me, you've got no chance in me picking the rest of it up. So
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So basically, we try and work out what's hot, what's current, but also we leave a lot of space for things that may go in a week before publication. The beauty of working with Andy is my designer Andy. I tell him sort of like we get the piece to him, give a few ideas, but he gets me. He knows what I like, and I trust him 100%. He designs it, and it's just bang on. We just go from there, really.
So how long does it take to publish a magazine?
It takes a week to print. So going back from printing, we do a magazine every 2 or 3 months. We probably have a month off after each magazine just to recharge the batteries and go back to ghost hunting, that kind of thing. And then we probably put together, if we work hard, we do work hard sometimes.
Occasionally.
If we work really hard, we can probably get a magazine together in 3 to 4 weeks.
See, that must be quite time consuming, though.
It is time consuming, but as I said before, we love it. We love doing it. If we didn't love doing it, it would be boring and hard work and monotonous, but we love doing it. The beauty of it now is that we love getting features from people like Penny and Vicky and Mickey, and they get I don't have to edit it much. I'm the editor, but what they send is nigh on perfect, to be fair. So just check the spelling mistakes, of course.
There's always going to be a spelling mistake, always.
and it just fits the magazine. We like to have a roller coaster ride. Something funny, something serious, something a bit controversial sometimes. But
that just sums up the paranormal field.
Oh, yeah.
It is a roller coaster.
It is a roller coaster. I always say it's like a theme park. You've got the roller coaster, you've got the ghost train, you've got the Hall of Mirrors where nothing's what it seems sometimes. It is a roller coaster of emotions as well. You know that.
Oh, massively, yeah.
Yeah. So it's something that, if you didn't love the paranormal, I'm talking to you two here, you won't be in it. It's not something you can just say, oh, I'll just do it because I'm a bit interested. You've got to love it. You've got to have the passion for it.
You can't pick it up and put it down. You're either in it or you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm getting itchy feet now because I've not been out for a while. Because I've not been on an investigation, I'm starting to get seriously itchy feet.
How long has it been? How long?
It's only been since the end of October, so it's not even that long, really. No. But it's already starting to irritate me that I'm not out there.
Yeah.
Because I liked it. I mean, you see, I had a place local to me that I could just pop off to. So, like midweek, if I got a bit, I feel the need to go out, I would go to that location and I would spend a couple of hours there investigating and seeing what I could find, and it was amazing. But unfortunately, that's been burnt down, so I can't just pop off there now. Mm-hmm. But it drives me potty to not be out there.
We went on Friday, and it's only been 3 days, and I'm itching to go back again.
Yeah.
Because obviously we all know in the paranormal world, sometimes you go, nothing happens, it's quiet. That's the nature of the paranormal. But when things happen, like it did on Friday, you want to go back. And you want to go back as soon as possible.
Yeah, once your adrenaline starts kicking in, the buzz from that, and it is a buzz. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. Mm-hmm. So you've just been speaking about going out and investigating. So shall we move on to Haunted Live, Paul?
If you want to.
Do you want to explain what is Haunted Live and who the team are?
Yes, Haunted Live is a group of five mates, really, who've known each other for many years, and we go ghost hunting. Basically, we go to haunted locations, and we go and investigate the paranormal. We either do an event there, we either just ghost hunting because we can, or we want to do it, or we do a Facebook Live. So we're all passionate about the paranormal. We've all got different beliefs, different versions of how we got there to where we are. But the thing is, you got that circle of trust. I trust these four guys with my life. So when things happen, even if I didn't see it or I saw it, nobody else did, it's not something that's been spoofed or faked or something's done that. We have a laugh. We're serious sometimes. We've got a few gadgets, but I always like to use our gadgets, the eyes and ears, to be fair.
Yes.
They're the best gadgets that you were born with and blessed with. But we do use other gadgets as well. But it's just going back to the paranormal, we love it. We love doing it. We love going. It's fun. We love the travel there. It's just the banter.
Do you all travel together?
Sometimes we do. Sometimes we go in 2 or 3 cars. But, on the main, probably 2 cars, because two of us live in, Andy and James, they live in Nottingham. And myself, Simon and Jason live more towards the Mansfield area of Nottinghamshire, so in Ashfield. So, so sometimes two cars is the best way.
But don't you find that's when the adrenaline starts kicking in? It's on the travel down there, because even if our team don't all travel together, we usually FaceTime as we're on our way.
Well, you know what?
So we're chatting, we're getting excited.
Yeah. People have got a WhatsApp page. We've got a WhatsApp chat group where we have banter, we have laugh.
We're not that down with the kids. We haven't got a WhatsApp page yet. Jolene, I know you're watching. Get on that one.
Yeah, Joe, we need your help on that one.
I'm just getting the kids set me up on one. But no, it's you're right. It's not just turning up at 9 o'clock till midnight or 1 o'clock. It's the drive. It's the having a coffee at Costa, having a McDonald's just on the way there. You know what I mean? So
see, every paranormal investigator goes to McDonald's on the way to an investigation. We should be getting some sort of discount from them.
It's the rule of law. You have to have McDonald's. You know, it is the rule of thumb. You know, but it's just, I'm sure the people out there who can know what we're saying. They've got a team of friends and they love doing what we're doing.
Yeah. So going back to your team, Paul, is there a reason why it's just males on your team?
No, there's not a reason why it's just males on a team. I think it's because we're all close. We're all married. We've all got kids. As wives, sort of like probably enjoy when we're out and about. They have lots of spare time and everything, but I don't know. To be fair, don't get me wrong. We have investigated with girls and Vicky and people from the Para Angel Girls and that kind of thing. So it's just, I guess it's just because we're friends.
So is it just? It's like a boys' club.
It's like a boys' club.
Bunch of boys doing what they love doing, having a good time.
We do run events, and a lot of the events, I would say 90% of them are female who come on the events. So we do investigate with a lot of women, and I always find women more sensitive anyway. Definitely more sensitive in terms of what they can pick up.
Yeah, definitely. In saying that, there is a lot of sensitive males out there. I'd say it was quite 50-50. But I do think that the paranormal world is quite male orientated. I think there's a lot of male investigators.
There's a lot on television that are male investigators, but I think there should be a lot of they should twist it on its head, and they should have a show that basically is just females. When
girls take over.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, call it Scream Queens, call them what you want to call them.
Scream Queens.
It's
Oh, Paul, I don't think I ever scream on an investigation.
Well, I do. I have been known to.
That conjured up a whole different picture to females on an investigation.
For everybody listening at home, Kerry literally just nearly spat a drink everywhere. So you all just missed that. That was hilarious.
Well, no, you know what? Paranormal is when I first started going to events. It was more females, and the man was dragged along because he was a show taxi driver or whatever, or he got 2 tickets and the husband was dragged along. But now a lot of men.
The wife said you're coming.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of men are going to events. More than used to be.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I only ever really do public events. And there was a time where I would be out every Friday and Saturday night at a different location with lots of new people. And a lot of the time it was mostly men. And it would be like, well...
And now we know why Gemma into the paranormal field.
For anybody listening, I do keep saying that we should do a paranormal speed dating. I think we should make this happen, peeps. Be an interesting one, won't it?
Wow, it would be interesting.
Stick a REM pod on the table.
Yeah.
If you can make my K2 meter light up.
Energy between each other.
Sorry, I've gone off on an angle.
No, there was a lot of men that would come along to the events, and they'd walk in with all the bravado of the classic line, I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Uh-huh.
And
then within an hour, they'd be hanging off my arm, like, oh, start.
I've seen that.
Just calm down.
Yeah, I've seen that. I personally, some men, like, oh yeah, I don't believe in it, and then all of a sudden something will come on the device that's relevant to the person there, and a word will come up or something, or one of the mediums will say something, and it's the spot, and they're like, whoa, you know what I mean? So it's. I get asked a question a lot about, do you believe? How much do you believe? The more I've ghost done, the more I'm thinking there's something there whether or not it's
well,
spirits,
I think the more you do
whatever,
it, the more you do it, the more you're out there, the more open you become.
Yeah.
And
Even when nothing happens, I'm just thinking, but when things do happen, you try and work it out in your head. What happened? Why did that happen?
Go through every single scenario.
Exactly.
Was that noise it a radiator pipe underground making a bit of a noise, or could it be a draft coming from the window? And you see, I'm with you, and I do all that as well. I like to go through everything before assuming that anything's paranormal.
Exactly.
I think you have to.
That's
rule 101.
Yeah, but on Friday, I don't know if you've seen the footage on Twitter. We're at Hinckley, the Haunted Antiques Research Centre, with Barry Guy, and the table moved. There's sounds in the sounds room.
I've not actually seen
it's on Twitter.
I've not seen the table move. I watched a couple of seconds of it before I got dragged away by my delightful children. Yeah. And I think the only bit that I see was like the opening titles. So that was something that I was going to ask you about, because obviously I've seen little bits on Twitter.
Yeah.
But what actually happened?
Well, we did a 2-hour live at this place in Hinckley. A beautiful, beautiful, wonderful place.
Do you stay live for the 2 hours?
Yes.
Completely, no breaks?
Yeah, no breaks, no adverts, nothing like that. Completely live from 9 till 11 normally. And with the usual spiel, introduce the show, introduce Barry, called out, use the gadgets. Barry, obviously, is a great guy, good friend. He brought his EVP recorder, picked up lots of EVPs, and then we're in the sounds room about an hour and 10 minutes into the investigation, and we're at the table. I was filming, and the table moved. And we were like, if you watch it, we were like, what? There's lots of swear words, so I do apologise in advance. But it was like, you can actually see the table move. Now, people are going to say, oh, you've kicked it yourself, you've touched it yourself, but we didn't. And you can tell from the response of us 6, us 5 and Barry, we were like, what has happened here? And over the last 3 days, it's really stuck in my head, because things do happen, like you say, and you try and debunk them, and you try and say, it's the noise outside, it's pipes, it's floorboards or whatever, it's your imagination.
Yeah.
But when you see a table move, and I talked about before, the circle of trust with your friends. Yeah. You know that not one of you would have moved it, and you're thinking, what is it? What is it? Paranormal? Is it? It's not something I just saw. All 6 of us saw the table move, and it's like it gets stuck up here. It gets stuck in your head.
Yeah, it does.
And you can't shake it. I can't shake it.
About it, as a child, as you're growing up, I think your parents automatically try and talk you out of the paranormal. As a child, when you say, Mum, there's a monster in my bedroom, or Dad, I've just seen a man in my room, and they go and have a look and there's nothing there, and a lot of parents will say, it's your imagination, you're tired, so I think you're sort of trained to automatically cover over,
dismiss it.
Completely dismiss what's happening around you. Do you think that we should start paying more attention to those sort of comments coming from children?
Yeah, because I think we should. I remember as a kid, I had an imaginary friend called Steve, funny enough. And my mum, I don't know much about it, I think I was 4 or 5. My mum tells me that she had to lay, at dinner time, she had to lay an extra spoon and plate and knife and fork for him. My dad had to stop on the road, pick him up sometimes. Seriously. And then one day, my mum said, where's Steve? And apparently my mum said, I turned around and said, he's dead. Oh. I just turned around and said, he's dead. So was it the fact that I wasn't...
roughly how old would you have been at this
I think mum said I was 4 or 5.
So really young then, a bit too young to even understand what death is. Exactly.
So was it my imagination? Was it the fact I was a loner, or that's what they say, you ain't got no friends? But or was it a ghost? Was it a spirit? You just don't know.
This really interests me, and I think this in itself is something that you can discuss for hours and hours and hours and hours, and still not come out with a definitive answer.
Exactly. It's like the table moving on Friday. We know what we saw. We're not daft. We're not going to say it's paranormal. We're not that stupid because you just get called out on Twitter, social media.
See, this is it. When you do try and, I mean, I personally would never ever use fakery, trickery, whatever you want to call it. That's not in my nature, and I don't think you do in the paranormal realm
why would
any
you do
justice
it?
at all by doing that.
Exactly.
What's the point?
Why would you do it? There's so
all
much.
you're doing is making yourself look like a fool.
Exactly. There's so much history and mystery of buildings that if there's something there and it wants to show you that they're there, it will happen. And I've never, I've heard whispers. I think I've seen things that corner my eye, seen shadows, but I have never seen a table move on its own with nobody touching it.
I've never seen a table move with nobody touching it. I've seen a table. Well, I didn't actually see it come off, but it smashed and it definitely came off the table. So
I mean, I've seen table tipping, but that to me is people subconsciously could use their hands to move it. But it's still in my mind 3 days later what happened. So
have you not been able to debunk that at all?
No,
I mean,
none of us have.
How can a table move with
exactly.
touching
None
it
of
anyway?
Us. Neil, who runs the place, says the table has moved before. It caught it on CCTV as well. We caught it on camera. Yes, unfortunately, it doesn't show you our legs. So you can't, obviously, one camera, that's the beauty of Haunted Live. One camera, that's what we say. So there's no cameras on the legs. You can't see us touching it. But I know my mates, we didn't fake it. There's no need.
You see, well, why would you?
Exactly.
What would be the point?
Exactly.
Of faking it anyway?
Yeah. And we invited Barry, who's a good friend and a well-respected investigator, and he's just as baffled as we are. And I've been not stressing about it. Not worried, but I've been thinking about it for 3 days. Can't get it out of my head.
I think when something like that does happen, I think it does tend to play on your mind a bit, and I think it increases the passion for paranormal.
Oh, definitely. We're back there on Wednesday.
And the intrigue.
We've got an event on Wednesday. We've got an event with 6 guests. So nothing may happen. That is...
Well, unfortunately, as paranormal investigators, we don't have a little crystal ball that tells us if we're going to have activity that night or not. So, it's a risk you take wherever you go. Exactly.
The thing that gets me is we put the video on social media and the response has been largely positive. You get a few shouted and fakery, we talked about fakery, that kind of thing, which is fine. That's their opinion. I've been here, nothing happened, and that's fine. But
that's great.
We know what we saw. We know.
See, I've got the same thing. I've got a couple of pictures that are, well, we'll just call them very intriguing.
Yeah.
One is of a shadow figure stood behind me on a staircase, and I have. Well, I've sent it to lots and lots of parapsychologists, and it's been pretty much around the world for people to have a look at. I'm all for people trying to debunk it. If somebody thinks that they can debunk it, feel free. I will send you it, not a problem. But I've not been able to debunk it yet. I've not had anybody that's come back to me that can debunk it without coming up with some rubbish. It's camera flare from the flashlight. No, it's definitely not, and you can quite clearly see that it's not. But each to their own. Let people have their say. If they think that that's what it is, then fair play. I mean, by all means, Paul, I'll send you the photo.
Yeah, please. I mean, no expert in the. I always think the paranormal, it has to be you have to be there moment.
Oh yeah.
Pictures are great, and I've got no reason to doubt anybody who sends a picture because it's their personal picture and their personal journey. But how can people look at your picture and say it's fake, it's photoshopped? How dare they? It's a better word.
100% definitely.
Exactly. How can they? Because they weren't there. They don't know what
Exactly.
camera, what environment it was, what time it was, that kind of thing. So people who say they are investigators but debunk everything aren't investigators, in my opinion. They just want to debunk. That's all they want to do.
Skeptics, aren't they?
Yeah, pure skeptics. That's all they are. Don't want to believe that the paranormal is real, or they would rather go ghost hunting and prove that it's not real, which to me is just pointless.
There is a difference, though, between being sceptical and looking for a rational explanation and being cynical. I think what you're actually talking about is more cynicism than skeptics.
Cynical,
Because when we did a show with two very well-known skeptics of the paranormal field, which was Rob Lee and Kev Kerr, they were really really wanted to get the point across that they want to prove that there is something, but they would always look for a rational explanation to see if there is something there.
Fine.
And that's important. It is important to define the difference between being a complete cynic who doesn't believe anything and will not take anything. And it's about being open-minded, but knowing your topic as well. There is a difference between being sceptical and cynical. So what you're saying is more about cynicism than sceptical.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would say that out of the 5 guys from Haunted Live, I'm probably the most sceptical. So the table has really thrown me, because the other 4 are more, they believe more than me. I think I'd say not 100%, but they believe more than me. I was the most sceptical, and this is why the table is really baffling me for the last 3 days. It really is. But so go back on Wednesday, so fingers crossed we'll get it again, hopefully.
Well, I think you'll be very lucky if you get it again. And I think a lot of the time, because different people bring different energy, which is going to impact on the activity that you're going to get anyway, I think sometimes that can cause...
Yeah. See, I always flip it and see... I always try and flip it and think, if there are spirits and ghosts, what are they? What do they see of us? Do they see us as spirit form? Are they thinking, I don't want to do anything tonight. I don't want to do it. I'm bored. I'm not feeling it. That kind, you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Well, I've said for years now, years and years and years, I feel sorry for the poor people that are trying to find me as paranormal investigators when I'm dead and gone, because I'm so stubborn, it's unreal. And if somebody said to me, can you make a noise for me? Can you let me know that you're here? I'd be like, nah. I'm going to wait till you've gone, and then I'm going to cause havoc.
You're going to have to work harder than that.
Think you can come for a few hours a night and find me? Think again.
If you're cheeky in your life, why... Surely you'd be cheeky in death.
Exactly, but don't you? I quite often think, and this is just my theory. I could be so wrong, but like the way humans are drawn to one another, why should that be any different because somebody's passed over? Sometimes you just don't like people, and you know what? That's fine.
I think it's actually more to do with the vibration that you send out as to whether or not a spirit will attract you. And if you go in with a specific vibration that resonates with the spirit that's there, it's not about looks, it's not about anything else, it's about your vibration that you're sending out. And if it resonates with the spirit, then the chances are they'll interact. If you haven't got that vibration, then there's nothing there to draw.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Like I've done examples,
and that's the beauty of paranormal. Yeah, we're all got different opinions.
Yeah. I've spent many of nights on public investigations where I've had people sit there and say out, do you want to communicate with me? And see, this is it. People laugh, but we've gone round the whole circle, and then a piece of equipment has gone off, or a voice has come through one of the spirit boxes for a specific person, and it's been that one specific person that can get any form of response at all, whereas everybody else, nothing.
And we always on events that we do, we always say it's not about the location. The guest may also bring something with them as well. True. They may bring spirits that are following them. So the beauty of it is that you might be in a historic hall with ghosts aplenty, but it might be the grandma or the granddad or the great grandma who've come along wanting to give a message. Yeah, it's just weird.
But maybe not even wanting to give a message, but just wanting to protect you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. We've had nights that are so quiet, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we've had nights where it's all hell's gone off. So it's.
I think we thrive for the nights where all hell breaks loose.
Oh yeah, you do. You
thrive for them.
You want your guests to have a good time, but we do always say when we're doing a public event, this is not pantomime paranormal. This what happens.
Paranormal.
Yeah, you know,
I like that.
It's not. We're not going to fake it. We're not going to stooge it. If nothing happens, nothing happens. If something happens, whatever it is, it happens.
Great.
You know, whether it's imagination or what. You know, so well, now it's just.
Yeah, we quite often say you're not going to find us stood behind a corner wearing a white sheet waiting to jump out on you. You know, that's not what we're about. If nothing happens, nothing happens.
The trouble is that may happen one every 200 companies, and unfortunately, because it happens, people play on that and say, "Oh, you're all fakes." You know,
and this is it. It takes one bad review to cause issues for companies. That's all it takes, and it doesn't matter whether you're in the paranormal world, retail,
anything,
care work, anything. One bad review is all it takes for things to spiral, you know, and that's what gives paranormal the bad name. The fact that there is a lot of people that will use trickery, fakery, whatever you want to call it.
Well, it's like, you know, look at mediums, right? I know some friends who are mediums, and I've got no reason to doubt that's what they believe in. But there are some mediums, people like Darren Brown, who use cold calling, and they show how to do it. So, you know, it's like, I'm friends with like people like Barry John and Derek and people like that, and I believe that they can hear and see things and communicate it. But there are people out there who are basically just cold calling. Oh,
we've got a cold caller now.
Hey, seriously, I'll mute and sort him out.
It's Shep. Hello, she's the ghost of Shep. It's Sheba. It's Shirley Ghostman. Just
Oh, see, don't you just love it on the Supernatural show? We always have some sort of technical difficulties. If it's not a dog barking,
we love live radio. Live.
Well, I tell you, if it's not a dog barking, it'll be one of my kids making such a racket. or there was one show where my Alexa decided halfway through the show that she was just going to pip in and have her 2 pennies worth, and it was like, love, not now, I'm busy.
No, seriously, isn't Alexa great? Other night we were at home at 10:30. He said the weather tomorrow is going to be really nice.
Yeah, thanks, but who asked? Thanks for that. I'll get the shorts out and t-shirt out. Honestly, you got to love a few technical difficulties, haven't you, while you're live?
Yeah, this is the beauty.
I've been texting my kids all through the whole show, telling them to shut up if they haven't banged doors, flushed toilets, blown noses at the top of the stairs, shout at each other from across the... I'm like, will you shut up? I'm live. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. They're now banned from the Xbox for a week, everybody. That's all I'm saying.
Because it's December, you can mention Santa Claus because it's December, can't you?
Well, they're a bit old for that, but, you know.
11. If they're 14, 15, you've got no chance, but no.
Yeah, exactly.
If they're 11 under, you got, oh, Santa Claus.
Well, mine stopped believing in Santa Claus a long time ago, and that the only reason for that was because they came downstairs and Mummy was a little bit drunk wrapping up the presents and didn't hear them coming down the stairs. My bad.
Whoops, caught out.
Well, to be honest, I think that was the same year that, again, I might add, I was a little bit drunk. I forgot to put name tags on, and because the wrapping paper was exactly the same, and I've got a boy and a girl, so one was having girly toys, one was having boy toys, and Christmas Day comes and they're like, Mum, my son was like, why have I got a dolly? Just because you're a boy doesn't mean to say you can't have one. Yeah, if you want a dolly, you can have one, mate. And then I turned it into a game because it was the only way I could save myself. So I turned it into a game and I said, look, why don't you play Swapsies?
managed to get out of that one then.
Honestly, yeah, there's nothing worse.
You know,
than
if
Christmas.
you think about Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and folklore and urban legends, it's all, and it's folklore, the ghost stories of the medievals, that kind of thing. So it's not just, paranormal is not just 20, 30, 40, 50 years old or victorious. It's gone past this 400, 500 years.
Yeah,
ghost
exactly.
stories, that kind of myths and legends.
ancient, isn't it? It's ancient. It goes back more than 400 or 500 years. It's just ancient. That's the side of it that fascinates me. I mean, earlier on you were talking about you get itchy feet going out on investigations. I get itchy feet when I haven't done any research.
Yeah.
Oh,
you see,
I'm really going to kill the children.
That'll be the first live on Parasearch.
And we will find out if there is life after life once I've murdered them. Because I'm sure they will come back to haunt me. No,
and I would just like to put it out that no children were harmed in the making of this live radio.
Oh, they might be. You haven't heard any smacking noises yet.
There is still time. No, seriously, Paul, I would like to thank you so much for joining me tonight, because we are coming to the end of the show.
It's gone so fast, is it an hour already?
Do you know what? I know I could waffle on for hours.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
I really could. Just to let you know, Paul, I have shared the link for both Haunted Live and the Haunted Magazine on the Parasearch chat room. So that is out there. And again, thank you so much.
Pleasure. Listen, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to chat to you both. And, you know, if I don't speak to you before, have a fantastic Christmas.
You too.
3 weeks time. But no, thank you so much for inviting. It's been a real joy to waffle on and chat about all things paranormal.
Exactly. I think sometimes, sometimes it's got to be done. I do it every Monday.
And I hope Jo's feeling better soon.
I'm sure she will be. For everybody listening at home, thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you do miss any shows during the week, pop over to Parasearch on Facebook or Twitter for any of the latest updates, and head on over to YouTube for any shows that you may have missed. Kerry, would you like to do your bit?
And don't forget to click like, share and subscribe. I love doing that. I just love it.
And that brings us to the end of the show. So thanks, everybody. Good night.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.